Matthew Fairbrother. Matthew. Where to begin? I suspect that if Matt decided he wanted to pedal his bike to Mars, he'd figure out a way to make it happen. And I suspect we'll see similar efforts out of him in the coming years. Now, don't get me wrong, the feats of endurance that he's already accomplished approach that level of insanity, but I get the feeling that he's just getting started. I sat down with Matt for the conversation you're about to hear before I knew him very well, before he raced his second ever Enduro World Series race in Petzen, Austria. It was, however, immediately after he'd covered just under 1,000 miles in less than 2 weeks to get there, starting hours after finishing his first Enduro World Series race in Tweed Valley, Scotland. Now, in the week after this conversation, his friend Lucas Walsh, my friend Eric Olson, and I took a 3.5-day ride from Petzen to Val di Fassa, the venue for the next race. If you want to get to know someone really quickly, ride your bike with them for a few hundred miles. In that time, I had the opportunity to personally see how Matt handles adversity, see what a goofball he is, and gain an understanding of his deep and unyielding perseverance and desire to push himself. The first night, the four of us sat down for dinner in Klagenfurt, a 2-hour pedal from their recently finished race earlier that day, and Matt immediately said, "How about let's see if we can get to Val di Fassa in a day and a half?" Lucas, Eric, and I convinced him that maybe 12,000 feet of climbing in 200 miles in 1.5 days was a bit much, especially after having just finished a world-class level mountain bike race earlier that day. We ended up splitting the journey into 3 days, and I'm glad we did. I know my body appreciated it, and I suspect his did too. Over the course of that trip, Matt continued to surprise me. On our first big day, after a highway crossing in which we got split up, he called a meeting to discuss group safety and establish some rules of the road. As the youngest person there by 6 years, this impressed me hugely, and as the oldest person there by 7 years, I was ashamed that I hadn't thought to do this. These moments of maturity and wisdom were contrasted by reminders that Matt is a very young person, and that this was his first time away from his home of New Zealand. His surprise at finding horses outside of his home country and questions about what language was spoken where were reminders that he's, a very young person and hasn't seen a whole lot up until this point, and made me glad that he's seeing the world from a new perspective. The big takeaway I got from my time riding with Matt was that I am more capable than I think I am. My biggest day, a 110-mile ride with 6,000 feet of climbing, was inspired entirely by him. His efforts are the perfect reminder that even though I may not be able to compete in a world-class race after traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles on hours of sleep, I can probably aim a bit higher, try a bit harder, and push myself a bit more than I thought I could. Maybe his efforts will do the same for you. So, without further ado, this is Matt Fairbrother sitting down with us for MTB in Review. Testing. Cool. Oh, and I actually got you. You like Haribos, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Too good.
Got you some Haribos.
Cheers.
Yeah, my pleasure. Cool. Matt, you told me earlier that you don't care which one, but what do your friends call you?
Matt, I guess, yeah.
Okay, Matt. We'll go with Matt then.
Yeah.
Where are we in the world?
We're in Petzen. We're not in Slovenia, are we? No.
Nope, we're in Austria. We're
Slovenia's just over there, though.
Just across the border. Yeah, we got the whole EWS village for the. What race is this?
It's the EWS the number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
In
For 2022.
so we're in Petzen is the bike park.
Yeah. Yeah,
In
Petzen is
Austria.
this side, and then Slovenia is just on the other side.
Cool.
In Jamnica.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How'd you get here?
Oh, I biked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever been here before?
Nah, first time here.
Cool.
First time on the side of the world even, so.
First time on this side of the world.
Yeah.
First time, well, where are you from?
New Zealand, so it's a long way.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned maybe first time out of New Zealand, is that right?
Yeah, so. It's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so you said you biked here. What does that mean?
So I cycled, began in Scotland in Tweed Valley and biked to, all the way over here.
So where'd you fly
Yeah. Flew into Glasgow, Scotland, and then I was there for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just about under 2 weeks, and then did the EWS in Tweed Valley.
Cool. You had fun, I hope?
Yeah, it was good.
Blessed. Was it and what like, let me just double check. Yes, recording. I've done that every time so far. I know I pressed record and then I double check. But so, yeah, what you're racing the EWS, what category, like what is that look like?
Under 21.
Okay.
So I'm 17, so
Cool.
hitting it early, gonna learn how it works and hopefully be able to attack it in the next few years.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Is first time racing EWS?
Yeah. Yeah, first
And
time.
this, you said second race for you. How'd the first one go?
Yeah, first one was good. Quite happy with how it went. Had a mechanic on the last stage, but I don't think it held me back too much. Snapped the neck off, but I think it was the best stage to do that on.
Wait, sorry, snap the neck off.
The neck, like my hanger chain was just dangling, yeah.
And like you were able to ride it or just cruise it out, or how'd that work?
I just kept smashing it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
I knew it was snapped off, so I knew I couldn't do much more damage to it.
Yeah. I met you briefly.
Yeah.
Almost immediately, within hours of you finishing your race.
Yeah.
Because then what? Then you were off to
to
here, I guess.
Yeah, there's a bit of shenanigans with getting some bike packing bags. So I finished at 4, got my bags at about 5:30.
Okay.
And I left at 6.
And this is a front roll and a rear.
Yeah, and all the small kind of other bags as well to go with it.
Like a feed bag.
Yeah, like feed bags. Yeah.
Bag. What so it sounds like this was kind of coming together at the last minute. Like where did these bags come from?
Yeah, well, so I'd ordered some bags maybe the Monday that week. They were meant to turn up the Wednesday.
Okay.
They didn't, and the next 2 days were like Queen's Jubilee weekend kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
So they didn't turn up, and they were going to turn up on Monday.
Okay.
The next Monday, which was just too late. So I had to send someone to Glasgow, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they went to all the shops there and picked out a few things for me. So
that's a good friend.
Yeah, so got some bags, got a sleeping bag, sleeping mat, cooker. Yeah.
So
all the essentials.
Like this came together clearly at the final hour.
Yeah.
How did that work out? Like did you know you were doing this prior to that final day, that final weekend?
Or yeah, I knew I was doing it about a week before, which isn't much time when you're doing something that big.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for tackling it that way?
There was like so it was always an idea, but I always just thought it was too stupid.
Ambitious, let's say.
Ambitious, yeah, it's a better word. But so yeah, people said I wouldn't do it, and I did do it.
And
but like that wasn't the motive. I don't know. That's kind of why I did it in the end. But like the motivation was like to save some money, and yeah, I did in the end. But yeah, I wouldn't have done it without the push, I guess.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool. And now, like we said, this has been a very ambitious project. You've made it from Tweed Valley, or Innerleithen, Scotland, to we're now here in Petzen, which is like south, east, kind of central eastern Austria, right by the Slovenian border. In Less than 2 weeks, was it?
Yeah, well, it was 8 days
8 days.
and 6 days of biking.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And what did, like, I told you I wasn't going to ask too much because I'm sure everybody's been asking you. But what did those days kind of look like? Like, what was your average? Wake up, cook some breakfast, get some veggies going. Yeah, what did your days
I
kind
don't
of look
know.
like?
It was kind of just all go. Like, I kind of wasn't stopping.
Yeah.
So I didn't cook anything once. I didn't use the camping set I bought once at all.
You had a camping set though?
Yeah, so like a wee
Stove
thing and pots, and I had some of like those camping meals in like the bag, in those bags, but yeah, I didn't get those out. So I don't know, I kind of just, I'd wake up and then bike all day, and then when I couldn't keep my eyes open, I'd sleep.
Around what time did that often end up being?
Most of the time it was about 2
a.m.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd get up about between 4 and 5 and then do it all again. And just not stopping it. Well, like only stopping for food, but I'd only stop twice a day.
Yeah.
And I'd stop at a gas station and just fill up my bike with heaps of stuff, heaps of food, heaps of liquids, and yeah, just keep going.
On the tools is a phrase I've heard you say.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't heard before, but I like
I
that.
think that's a Kiwi thing.
I like it a lot. Yeah. We'll have to bring that over.
Yeah.
to Washington. So just mashing the whole time. What kind of food? You said you're stopping at like gas stations and stuff.
Yeah, so
we just got some Coca-Colas. Give us like a quick rundown of what you were munching on.
Yeah, so I was being quite careful because I guess I have all my belongings on my bike. Like all the stuff I own is there.
Yeah.
So I was making sure I didn't stop off in any towns or cities or anything. So I was just going to gas stations, quiet gas stations out the back of nowhere. So they were always the small gas stations. So selection was quite small, and I basically lived off Coke, chocolate, and like gummy bears and those kind of stuff for a solid week.
What's your favorite gummy bear? What's your favorite brand, rather?
Just anything I can get.
Anything, doesn't matter.
I'm
quite a bit.
Yeah,
I don't need a ton of candy, but I
think these ones here.
I like Haribos.
I think that they would be my first choice. Yeah.
They got like a good like a slightly chewier texture.
Yeah.
Than some others.
I think they would be the first choice if there's a whole selection there. Yeah.
Cool.
But just whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild. And in fact, you mentioned to me that you've eaten a vegan diet for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So
haven't eaten meat in 7 years.
I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
I think I told you I was vegetarian for 4.5, just under 5 years.
Yeah.
Not vegan, but athletic, not to the same degree that you are. But like, I encountered a lot of like, oh, you can't. I was young. I was your age actually. So people telling me like, oh, you need meat to be able to grow appropriately and like be strong. It seems to me that you haven't had any real issue with that.
No, I think yeah, you do need to invest a bit of time into it, but I think you can get by just as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. You do need to be a bit careful sometimes, I'd say.
Make sure.
You just can't purely eat veggies, which
yeah.
When you say you're vegan, most people think that's all you eat.
Right.
But it's not.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So this past week of primarily like Coca-Cola and candy, that's not your normal diet.
That's not sustainable. Like you could survive maybe a month at most on that. But
yeah.
No.
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Is
not sustainable, but
yeah. How have you? So you've been working off very little sleep. I imagine you're hopefully caught up a little bit now. You've been here for
a little bit.
2 days. But how did you feel throughout that time period?
I felt fine. I think the only thing which slowed me down is like when my eyes are like shutting themselves, and then you just need to be careful that they don't shut themselves. So that's
because you're still on the tools at this point.
Yeah, on the tools. yeah, I don't know. It's
Basically, I saw you because I biked in. I put in a good day to get here to Petson, and I saw you had arrived actually. You passed my friend Eric and I in the night when we were sleeping, and you said you actually. So that was at the tail end of a good chunk of time of pedaling for you. You'd had that little break in leaguing, but you seemed like generally in good spirits. You seemed like you're feeling relatively good.
I've somehow felt good the whole time.
You mentioned that your Achilles tendons
so
have been
my
bugging you.
Achilles flared up the day after I finished.
Yeah.
So I woke up, I think it was Tuesday morning. I finished Monday, midday. And yeah, it was sore, but yeah, I'm lucky
Been
that
dealing with
it happened afterwards.
Yeah.
When I'd finished, so yeah.
And you've been still biking. You've been feeling generally like ready for this upcoming week. What's today? Today's Thursday, so you're racing.
Somewhat. I think as best as you can feel after doing all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
I couldn't ask for more. Like I feel,
better.
for any better. Yeah, like it's
Cool.
I'm holding up. Yeah, okay.
Did you now going into this? You said it was a fairly like last minute decision to go about getting to these races in this manner.
Yeah.
But how have you prepared for? Yeah, like what does your normal routine look like for riding bikes and being in the kind of shape that you're in to be able to do something
like
this?
fitness wise.
Yeah.
And
like even specifically leading up to these few to this adventure.
Yeah, well, I've never invested time in getting fit for like the long distance stuff, but back at home I do quite a bit to, I guess, get fit for like these EWS events. So that's quite a bit of gym work and some intervals in there.
Okay.
And also building like a base over the winter.
Yeah.
So that's just lots of that.
Because can you ride in the winter in New Zealand?
Yeah. So where I am, it's kind of sea level. It doesn't snow.
Okay.
Weather's a bit wet, but it's
Yeah. No, that's similar to where
yeah,
I'm at.
nothing that would stop you getting out a couple times in the week. Yeah. So I don't know, just maybe a normal week. I don't think I'd do more than 10 or 12 hours on the bike.
Okay.
And then coming into the season, some more gym work and some more high intensity.
Is that like
stuff, just building up and sharpening up, I guess.
Is that like, what do you like to do? Like powerlifting or like what kind of stuff do you get into?
Not powerlifting, but just pushing weights and
dumbbells,
yeah,
barbells,
and also
stuff like
quite
that.
a bit of core stuff and
Cool.
making like sure all the muscles are working together to just be stable as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned to me that in fact you'd had an injury.
Yeah.
That I'm seeing there. You've got a big scar on your wrist.
Yeah.
What's the story there? How did that come into play?
I think it was the beginning of last October. I attempted a gap back at home that no one had ever done. It was a bit ambitious. Once again.
Doing some guinea pigging?
Yeah, I was off a corner, and the corner was too steep, I guess, and I was coming off it sideways, and I just couldn't get the pop I needed off it. So I cased this jump and went over the bars and went tumbling and just basically pushed my hand into my arm, or whatever you want to call that, and snapped some bones and squashed some other bones and made a good mess of it. But
so the scar is from a surgery?
Yeah, so a scar there and a plate just here, which you might be able to see poking out a wee bit.
Yeah, I see a little bump there.
Yeah.
Those is that stuff coming out or what's going on?
See, the plate was meant to come out about a month ago, but I put that aside because that was going to be about 10 weeks before I could bike again.
Yeah.
So it's
doing
okay at the moment. So it does flare up if I'm doing a big day at a bike park. But
not nothing. It hasn't been bothering you this past week.
No,
it sounds like
it is what it is as well.
Yeah.
Got to deal with it.
Yep.
Same with all the other things that happen.
Injuries happen.
Yeah. It's just
part of life and part of biking, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, before we move on from that, you told me about I think it was, you said your first ride back after you got surgery.
Yeah,
I quite liked that story.
Yes, the first time I hopped back on my full suspension, and got up the hill like mountain biking, because I'd been on my hardtail just on the flat. But the first time I went like biking, what I call biking, biking the hills, I guess I felt good. I was back on the bike, I was happy, and I blasted into this corner, pushed into it, and then just snapped a wheel mid-corner and just went tumbling. I would have been going about somewhere between 30 and 40 Ks, which, I don't know.
Fast, basically. Real
like
fast.
maybe 25 miles.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Wait, and so that your wrist was okay?
It was okay, but it was just the first time I'd gotten back on an actual bike. I just had an absolute huge. Yeah.
So in January, right after I had told Eric I would do this trip with him, 2 weeks after, I did this longer step down that I had done before, and actually I'd crashed on before once. But so I was like, and then I'd done it again after that, and it was fine. I was like, I got it, and did like the somersault thing, like same crash I did the other time I crashed, and separated my AC joint in my shoulder. This is the end of like January 29th.
Mountain biker's shoulder.
And then I was like, yes, and I got the bump there.
Yeah.
And then it was like first ride back a few months later, I was like, can't get hurt. I'm doing this trip with Eric. Like, I've been putting my all into recovering to make sure I'm good. And I go and clock a tree with my shoulder. Like, this tree popped out of a corner that I wasn't expecting. And I ended up being okay too, but it was like, oh my God. Like, I can imagine how you felt.
This close to being like,
where you're like,
back at the beginning. Yeah.
No, so in fact, the story that I wanted to hear was about some very, very large bike ride that you did, maybe in a cast still.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that story again.
Oh, that was before the accident.
Okay.
Yeah, this was when I was still in a cast.
Okay.
Yeah, and I set up how do we set up? And I put like TT bars. I took the wee poles out of it.
Yeah.
Just so it was the pad on my bar.
So you can be like this.
Yeah, and I put both of my levers on top of each other so I could stop. Like with one, I used my middle finger, and it worked for both of them.
Okay.
So I could just squeeze and stop both wheels.
Okay.
And yeah, I was in Queenstown for like a week, and I decided one day I was just gonna go out on a big mission, and I just pedalled up and down heaps of hills. Started at like maybe 2 in the morning, and I think I got pulled over. My mum was there, kind of, I don't know, supporting me.
Keeping an eye on things.
Keeping an eye on things, and I think we got pulled over by the police at about 2:30 in the morning.
Wait, so 12 hours later? No,
this
24 hours
this is when I started. This is like in the beginning.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, and they pulled us over and wanted to know what the heck we were doing up the mountain at that time of the day.
Yeah.
Or night or whatever. Yeah. So.
And so, just to clarify, you're like this, and
then
running both brakes with your right middle finger. Yeah. And then you also told me you had an interesting way.
Oh yeah, so I was also a part of that mission or whatever. I went to the bike park in Queenstown. It had just had a big overhaul, so it was smooth. It wasn't bumpy. But,
no brake bumps.
Nah, but there's heaps of jumps. It's a bike park, and I was only doing the flow stuff, so there's jumps.
Yeah.
I'm also not going slow because.
What's the point of that?
Yeah. So I was having to like tie my arm down to the pad, because otherwise it would just flop. Because I was equally using this arm as much as this arm to like support myself up.
Yeah.
But it didn't hurt because it was up by my elbow.
Yeah.
So that was fine. But I was like.
Wait, so you told me
just tape and cable ties, like that's whatever I had.
And a cable tie being a
zip tie. Yeah.
And then you were saying you also had a pair of clippers.
Oh yeah, because I had to get myself out of it. Yeah.
At the end. That is so good.
Not many people know about that though.
Okay. Well,
I don't want that getting back to my mum and dad, because I don't think they'd be too stoked. But
okay. Well, maybe just don't send them the podcast.
Yeah. I won't.
Because I could cut that out if you. Really
I've done a few things like that just to make things work before.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Just to get back on the bike, you've got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. No, it's true. Now,
bit
you said
DIY.
your mom was kind of running support for this adventure. What, like, you said, you know, you're 17, which is a young adult, but this is like the first, like the first time out of New Zealand, and you're doing this wild adventure. What are your parents like? What's that dynamic like with your parents? And like,
I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest.
are they they adventurous people?
Well,
Like,
I don't know. Like my dad, he's done a bit of bike packing himself. So he did. They call it the TA. It's like a tour of New Zealand, so the top of the North Island of New Zealand to the bottom of the South. Mm-hmm. So he's done that. That was about a 20-day adventure for
that's
him.
a pretty good adventure.
I think he's quite happy.
Yeah.
That I'm getting out there and doing something similar, because he enjoyed that himself.
And literally seeing the world.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. I think they're happy for me. They're stoked, but I think they are quite scared.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. But
yeah,
you just mentioned in regards to like figuring out how to secure yourself to your bike, the Kiwi ingenuity.
Yeah,
and,
it's something special.
I imagine they hold your capacity to sort out problems in pretty high regard.
Yeah, I hope so.
To trust that, hey, we're sending Matt out, or Matt's going out, not sending him out, but Matt's going out to do this adventure, and that's scary, but like, he can figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
I've got quite high confidence in myself that I can just make whatever work.
Make it work. No, that's
find solutions for stuff
that's very admirable.
When it happens. Yeah,
I think that's a very cool thing.
But I think if you are doing something like this, you've got to have the confidence to go and do it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll be second guessing yourself, and it's just not.
That's not how it works.
You don't put yourself into a safe situation when you're second guessing yourself. Mm-hmm. I think.
Have you done? Obviously, nothing quite like this before, but have you done things like this before?
So I've never bike packed.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never stayed a night, like on my bike.
Yeah. With
my bike, but I've done some bigger like single day missions at home. Mm-hmm. So.
What give us like a 2 or 3 sentence sort of synopsis of those.
I think what I kind of made a bit of a name for myself back home when I did a 10,000 meter like mountain bike thing.
We're in tractor country.
So yeah, I don't know. I climbed up and down the same hill.
You said a 10,000 meter.
Yeah.
And that's an Everest, right?
Yeah, well a bit more.
Okay.
So I just wanted to get the five digits.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I did that mountain bike, descending like actual downhills. So
I think I've gotten close to 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
Like I've done a few 9,500, 800 foot days.
Yeah.
And I feel pretty cooked after that.
Yeah.
So I think meters are rough. I mean, a yard is 3 feet and a meter is a little bit longer than a yard. So that's, let's say, more than 30,000 feet. More than 30,000 feet in one go.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but yeah.
We'll sorry, I'm just trying to give some context.
That sounds better. It's a bigger number.
What? Yeah, right. Yeah, we talked before we started about like, all right, do we try and use kilometers or do we try and switch to miles? And you pointed out that kilometers is a bigger number, so
sounds better.
Sounds better. So maybe you should start measuring your elevation in feet and your distance in kilometers.
Yeah.
And then you'll confuse everybody.
Yeah, and then win-win.
And then how many adventures like that have you done? Like single effort
I'd say
pushes?
Maybe 4, 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've done it a bit. I've learned a bit about my body in advance for this, because this is like quite ambitious, and I don't think it'd be sensible just to do that off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what?
I know.
Sorry.
No, you go.
When was the first? What was the first? Or when was the first one?
So it was when I was 15. I think in May, which is 2 years ago.
Cool.
Yeah, about 2 years, just past 2 years ago, I'd say.
So you've just
kind of the first one. Yeah.
Taking it uphill.
Yeah, and it's all kind of the same things. I've just gotten quicker and done it on gnarlier
a little more experienced, and
Yeah.
like you said, you've learned more about yourself. What do you have any things that stand out as things you've learned about yourself?
I don't know. I think it's
About
big
how your
things,
body
just
works and stuff?
fueling and sleeping, knowing what you need,
Maintaining food.
and knowing when to back off and knowing when to push.
Yeah.
And also knowing that there's always going to be some dark moments when you're doing these kind of things, and that it does get better, I think. It's just like comes in waves, and it's just knowing that you've got to push past it.
Cool.
And yeah, it's
Actually,
the highs are high and the lows are low.
one thing, and again, we can either cut this or not send it to the parents if you don't want. But one thing you mentioned was a bit of a hallucination, or like continued, like recurring hallucinations that you sometimes experience.
Yeah,
when you're like deep in it.
So when it always happens at night, and it's always when I guess I'm fighting to keep my eyes open. It's like when you know you got to get some sleep. But yeah, I think lots of other people have it too. But you just get animals coming along beside you, just passing you, just
And
like deers and like wee bunnies and
happy animals.
yeah, happy animals. Like nothing that you should be scared of.
You're not getting like a cougar coming at you or something.
I've never had that. We don't have. Maybe if I lived in like somewhere that had those, but in New Zealand we've only got nice animals, so I've only had nice animals come up beside me, so that's good. But yeah, maybe somewhere else people would get these other animals.
I thought it was really interesting talking to our buddy Eric, who's done some big efforts, and like when you first told me about these, I was like, that's crazy, like that seems unique. But then Eric said he has experienced the exact same thing, similar conditions where it's dusk or dark out, and you start seeing like shadows because you're running bright lights, obviously. So yeah, I'd be curious to know if other people that are enduring these like extreme physical exertions get that too. I bet the answer is yes.
Must be. I think once you get to that point, your mind is just like out of it. You're just like autopilot almost. You're just slightly conscious.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I wonder.
It's a place you kind of don't want to be in, but it's also, I don't know.
Necessary for that type of effort.
Yeah. It's also cool to look back on it. It's quite funny, but
I wonder.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I could ask you to share the story of on the way here.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. So I was in the midst of a hallucination thing. Yeah, and I just get hit by a bird in the face.
One of these animals running by. These happy
so
animals.
I get hit by a bird in my face, and I play it off. It's like, it's okay, it's cool.
Just a happy animal.
Yeah, but like I'm hallucinating, so it didn't happen. It's just something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd never had it before, but like I knew I was hallucinating, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Forget about it, I guess. And then the next the next evening, I think it was, I was looking at my phone, the photos and stuff, and I find this video, and it's a bit weird because I'm in like a farmer's shack where they're selling their potatoes, their seeds, and just
This is where you're posted
stuff
up for the
So I that night I was hallucinating. I slept there in this wee shack thing, and so I'm looking at this video, and then I'm doing a big pan of the shack, and then it pans over to me, and I'm just covered. My face is covered in blood. Yeah, all down my face, and I did. The bird wasn't a hallucination.
You had a bird.
Yeah, so I got smoked by a bird.
Poor bird.
Yeah. But if there was no video, I wouldn't have known. Like, yeah.
No, nobody would have been the wiser. Well,
yeah, so that's a first for me.
That's an incredible story.
But you wouldn't think that it happened.
Yeah, totally. Especially because you're like, yeah, I know I've been hallucinating these animals.
Yeah, I thought it was just another one of these animals. But this one, yeah. I don't know. It wasn't pain. I don't think it was painful. But it was, yeah, who knows.
You carried on.
I was out of it, so yeah.
Now, we're at the second race. You're headed to the third one in Val di Fassa, which is northern Italy.
Yeah.
Are you intending, and obviously plans change, but are you intending on continuing on?
Yeah, I'll make it over there.
Cool.
This is just a short part of it in some ways. Like we've both done the big part, and this is just,
just a week, no big deal.
A warm down.
Yeah. Cool down.
Yeah.
And do you have any thoughts on like future projects and future endeavors that you want to do along these lines?
I'm not too sure. Like, the thing with me is I only decide the week before, or even a few days before I do these things. I just get a spark, and then I'm like, I need to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not good at planning like months in advance and then doing these things.
I imagine that could be a little intimidating, huh? Like if you're
planning,
being
organised,
like thinking about such a large endeavor for so long of a time period.
I think that's it. I think, and same with biking. If you're like looking at a feature, if you go and see a jump, and you just stare at that jump, you start to think and you start to develop. You start to get a lack of confidence.
Yeah,
you've got too much time to think, and I think it's the same with this. Like you just don't want to think about it. You just want to know that you can. Because back to that jump situation I was just talking about, like most of the time you're capable of that, but like you
start to think.
I start to
think about the things that can go wrong.
What if this? What if that? And that's in life. There's heaps of those what ifs, but you're not going to get anywhere
if it's always what if.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think by not thinking, by not giving myself the chance to think, I just go into it and as confident as I can be, and
I think
there we go. But
saying not thinking that I don't think about it is selling yourself short a little bit. I think maybe more so it's being aware of your abilities and being confident in your abilities.
Yeah.
And saying, I can do this, and I know I can do this, and I have these heaps of experience behind me to set me up for this, and let's do this.
Yeah, it's a nice way to put it, for sure. But
well, how about this? If you don't have specific, endurance efforts planned, do you have plans? Because you said this is your first time out of New Zealand. Do you have maybe even just intentions or hopes of doing more traveling?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess my big goal is to make it on a team and just do the EWS as a lifestyle, I guess, as a job.
As a job, yeah.
So that's the goal. And I guess that's going to take time.
Yeah.
Same with anything.
Yeah. Effort.
And effort. But I think, not that it was intentional, I think this has given me a good head start. Like biking here.
No, this is
got some good exposure and some good people helping me too, which is, I didn't expect it. It wasn't for that, and there we go.
Who all has been, if you got to give me the top people on your mind or groups that have helped you succeed here, give us a quick rundown.
I think just all the Kiwis.
Yeah.
I think they know how hard it is to get over here, and they know money's tight.
Yeah.
And they know it's nothing like New Zealand. So all the Kiwi guys on teams have just been amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Guys and gals.
Not to name a specific person, just all of them. And just, I don't know, the biking community is so cool. Like, I think if I had asked anyone for some help, I would have got it.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to think that's true too.
Yeah.
And I think it is true. Cool. Well, I guess last thing, I think it's quite funny that this trip that Eric and I, that sort of seems like spontaneously a few different people have had this similar idea.
Yeah.
Eric and I have approached it a little differently, but he and I chatted in a previous episode, so you can listen to that if you want, about his intentions and how we're doing it. But you're on a high pivot as well.
It's a coincidence. Yeah.
What bike you're riding?
So I'm on a DV8 Highlander. So
pretty jazzed on it.
Yeah, stoked with it. So they give me a bit of support.
Cool.
So I'm on the 150 version. So they make a 140 and a 150. So chosen the
pivot.
more burlier one.
Yeah. High
Yeah.
pivots, that's
It's the
for all
future.
your bike touring.
Yeah,
and
you'll see them
bike-packing
on
needs.
XC bikes and bikepacking bikes in
Yeah.
like a couple of years, eh? They're just
Maybe.
the
We'll
new
see.
thing. Hasn't held us back, has it?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't at all.
Oh, it's a good excuse anyway if we don't make it.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Good call.
Yeah.
No, it smooths out all those bumps in the pavement.
Yeah, all
potholes
the
and things.
cobbles. Like, you could just, cobbles like so good on high pivots.
Well,
Just eats the bumps up.
totally.
Yeah.
That rearward axle path. I'm very excited to see what you get up to. I'm excited to have met you on this trip.
Yeah.
I am like have taken inspiration from it. Like on my push from Schladming to here to Petzen was like 100-mile day, and I think the longest I've ever, like distance-wise, it was only like 5,000 feet of elevation, and I know that's meaningless for you, but you did the same thing, so
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what it was. I think that was my biggest day on a bike.
Yeah. That's sick.
And you were fully some inspiration. So
Cheers, yeah, and it's a big day. On these bikes that are heavy, it's not an easy job, is it?
It was tough, and
Yeah.
but no, I had this like boost of like you said, confidence. I was like, Matthew is crushing. He's on like day 7 or something, day 8, I don't remember, of having done this every single day with little sleeps, and like I'm feeling good, and I got this.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
that pulled me through, like you said.
That means a lot, and that's like, I don't know, in some ways that's also the goal, because just to show people that you can do it.
Cool. Yeah.
That's and like, you don't need a huge budget either.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Give me a sum up those thoughts for me again. I know you just kind of said it, but like, give me a 1 or 2 sentence summation of like what you hope other people can get out of this.
Yeah, well, I think a big thing is like for people my age, just to show that you can get over and do it and chase your goals. And I think I think to sum it up, there's always a way to make something work. Like whatever the goal is, there's always a way to get there.
Yeah.
And it might not be the way other people are doing it, but yeah.
No,
I think that's it. I want people to like just chase whatever it is and make it work with what they've got.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll add to that like I think seeing your method of making this happen was a really cool sort of contrast to the way Eric and I are doing it, which is also involving bike packing.
Yeah.
But we're including trains into the ordeal. Because we didn't want to push ourselves to the extent that you did, but like we're making it work.
Many people would want to, but
We're making it work.
Yeah, hopefully I haven't made it seem like it sucks too much.
Yeah, like the way we're doing it is like totally feasible. It's had
it's still cheaper too. Like if you're smart about it, you can still save heaps of money.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not renting a van. We're not paying for petrol, for gasoline.
Yeah.
And
also, you get to see places.
Yep. Some wild, wild places.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is an extremely supportive community.
Yeah.
And people have been very helpful and supportive and willing to lend a hand when they can.
Yeah. That's it.
I think I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me. I know you've got a lot going on. I know you've got a lot of people that want to hear your story as well, and hopefully this will help. And I wish only the best for you. And maybe we can, I know none of it's planned yet, and there's like a few potential hiccups, but maybe we can share the next, or at least some small portion maybe of the next journey to Val di Fassa.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So anyways, good luck on your race this weekend, and all the best. Thanks, Matt.
Cheers for the chat.
Yeah.
Sweet. Is that it?
That's it. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. That was super cool. You've got a really cool story, and I appreciate you telling
Thanks.
Because hopefully
I
other
wasn't
people.
too sure how I was going to handle that.
No, you fucking crush it. I mean, like. Yo!